I started using OpenClaw like I think 28th of January, and it started replicating itself. The entire banking system is based on taking your money. They want to lend the money and make that money, that their core business is for you not to invest your money. But it's crazy because it's a huge conflict of interest. Because if we explain to the customer that what he needs to do is buy an S&P ETF, we won't be making money anymore.
Are you a bank?
We're not a bank.
Okay. How do you make that money?
The biggest two lines are trading, transactional trading in crypto and transactional trading in stocks and capital markets. I created CMO Claw, which is how can I build an entire marketing campaign, which includes branding, copywriting, the ads connected to Google, to our email marketing. Who's the target audience? What is it for? It's in 15 different languages. And I'm like, wow, this is a month's work of 5 people in my marketing department. You have now in your hands more firepower and technology than Renaissance had in the last 30 years. Renaissance is generating 70% returns consistently for the past 70 years. So if they made 70%, you go make me 25% a year. I'm not asking for a lot. This is the year where agents are coming. Most money in the world is going to be managed by agents in 12 to 18 months.
You're probably the most experienced Claw user I've met yet. What are the big mistakes you've made?
The way I told my team when I saw them working with it and being frustrated with it, I said, this is like you have here a PhD in math and a professor in physics and computer sciences, but he's also a 3-year-old boy.
Bon, j'ai un énorme problème. Ce problème, c'est que vous êtes uniquement 42% à regarder, à écouter ce podcast, à être abonné. C'est pas normal. En tout cas, si vous vous abonnez, ça nous aide énormément pour plein de choses, pour avoir des super invités, pour faire un meilleur travail, pour avoir une meilleure équipe. Donc, abonnez-vous. C'est un simple, tout petit clic maintenant. Si c'est juste la première fois que vous écoutez, c'est OK. Et si vous revenez, abonnez-vous maintenant. Vous nous rendrez un énorme service. Faites-le maintenant et je vous remercie énormément. So, we're gone. It's on. So Yoni, how many open claws do you have? I'm so proud. So my open claw, I just have to talk singular. My open claw is called Vadim, and I just have one. I talked to him on Telegram, and he's got a picture, a nice little picture. And he's not yet driving the whole team crazy, but I can feel it's going to happen soon.
So it's actually a funny story because I started using OpenClaw like I think 28th of January, and I have this and it writes this memories now of what happened like throughout those like roughly 65, 70 days, and it started replicating itself. So my original OpenClaw
No way.
was on one computer, and I started building. Then over the weekend, one of the programmers in eToro started helping me, so we bought moneyclaw.com and claw.money and QuantClaw and like these domains, because that's what I did when I was young. I loved to buy like domains.
So did I.
And then I said like, this is so crazy, the experience with OpenClaw for me. I want actually every user of eToro to have an OpenClaw. So I said a MoneyClaw would be a place where the premium users of eToro would click a button and receive an OpenClaw.
Which won't be just for money, like an OpenClaw for everything.
It's an OpenClaw, but then, we had to limit it a bit. And as we limited it, we focused it. And what was funny is like OpenClaw eventually replicated itself. So I created another OpenClaw, right? And then I got it keys to a cloud. So because I'm a tech guy, I gave it a key to a cloud so I could actually tell my OpenClaw, replicate yourself, create yourself a new brother that's an expert in marketing, take all of my skills. So it started with one claw, then it became QuantClaw because I love quantitative trading. And I said all my life I wanted to have a quant or multiple quants working for me and trading for me. And then I created CMO Claw, which is how can I build an entire marketing campaign, which includes branding, copywriting, the ads connected to Google, to our email marketing. And I added my marketing team to the WhatsApp, and I'm showing them like, hey, look, say any campaign. They say the campaign, they get like a full brief. Who's the target audience? What is it for? It's in 15 different languages. And I'm like, wow, this is a month's work of 5 people in my marketing department. And then I wanted to create another claw, and I realized I'm the only guy in eToro now who knows how to create claws. So I created DevOps Claw, who has the keys to the cloud and can replicate more claws. And then I got to a point where I think a lot of people got in the last 2 months, which is it kept forgetting, right? So people in eToro connected to my claw through my WhatsApp, and like more and more people started talking to my WhatsApp business, to my Cypriot number WhatsApp business. And suddenly like it grew, like 30 different people are telling my cloud, do this, do this, do this, do this. So what happens? His context window gets fooled, so and he starts forgetting and etc. So I said, okay, so analyze your memories. Who are you talking to in eToro? Because I don't follow anymore. And he wrote me like, here is the people I'm talking to. And then I said, okay, I see the quants are talking a lot to you. So let's create QuantClaw. Since then, QuantClaw has built 5 different apps. Then we're in the process of doing rebrand for eToro because we're actually rebuilding the entire app now with AI. So we're building 100% the entire app from scratch, a 10-year code in Angular JS, rebuilding everything
real
with
scratch,
AI.
100% scratch.
Scratch.
All right.
And the app itself, not all the backend. But it's like it's faster, it's better, it's like a better user experience. I already feel it because I use it. And so I said, okay, if we're building the app, let's do also a rebrand. But how do I want to do a rebrand? I said, I want AI to do the rebrand. So I created Brand Claw. So I have CMO Claw, and CMO Claw has Brand Claw. He has Email Marketing Claw. He has a Marketing Campaign Claw. And now he has Web Claw because I want to also build the website together with AI.
And Yoni, just one question. When you create all of those claws, how important is it that you get like brand claw with marketing claw? Couldn't marketing claw do brand claw? Is it not close enough? That's the question I'm asking myself. Do I need to have a quality control claw? Do I need to have a shipping claw? So the front and back end.
So what I found out. And again, everything is changing, right? So I also built MemClaw.
MemClaw, okay.
And MemClaw is the shared memory.
All right.
Of all the claws. It started as MemClaws. I created an open source project. So I haven't.
Is it a database?
It's a vector database.
It's not MD files.
And three like different types of database searches.
Okay.
Where all the claws write to it, and then it reads from all the claws and learns. And pushes skills to the other clause, like what did I learn? Because what I'm seeing now is people in eToro are doing the same mistakes I did 40 days ago. But now if I'm giving somebody an open claw, I'm seeing again the same repetitive mistakes, right? So I'm training people how to use open claw in eToro. I'm talking now about like 40 different open, different claw groups in WhatsApp. And in Teams, and what I see is like you need to have a very good driver, right? So it's like a Formula One car. So suddenly we moved from a programmer in eToro being able to run with Cursor and Claude 5 to 10x faster, right? Which is also mind-boggling.
Really, they do that. It's working, yeah.
But it's really 5 to 10 times faster. To suddenly people who had no prior experience in development building projects that are like projects of, I'm saying like, and I'm not exaggerating, projects that we've built over the last 2 months are not 100% yet, right? But we built a database that collects all the financial databases in the world, like all the SECs, all the central banks, all the Bureau of Statistics into a centralized database of eToro. So we can have our AI have its own database that is open to Claw. And it's called Data Claw, right?
So all of what we're talking, Yoni, if you let me say it, is like we are the 14th of April. So you started all of those things on February 28th.
No, January 28th.
January. Okay, that's
like he was born the first Claw. And then he tells the story, because I asked him from time to time to tell the story so I can update people what I'm doing. Because I have now 45 different GitHub projects in eToro.
Oh, wow.
And for each of these projects, I need to find a driver. So like I open WhatsApp groups with employees of eToro and I'm looking for a driver because I'm building now a Claw to do this. And like each of these projects are like things that if I would ask, historically people would tell me, Yoni, we don't have priorities or resources to build these things. Or why are you building a memory layer for agents? And I'm like, because they have to learn from each other. Because what I see is people are able to run, it's not 50 times, it's 500 times faster, right? But you have to control it. So now we're running multiple agents. We call it auto builder. So one of the claw masters in eToro build a process where you have like the researcher who researches basically an area of a feature, looks at competitive landscape. Then a planner who builds the feature in eToro. It's connected to our Figma, then creates the design, then starts building it, testing it, finding the problems, and doing this in a loop. So those type of projects have also to have like somebody steering it, right? Somebody like going, no, this is good, this is bad, this is what I need.
Il y a un nombre qui est plus important que tous les autres quand on est entrepreneur, quand on gère une entreprise. C'est le petit nombre qui est en bas à droite de votre facture. Le problème, c'est que derrière ce nombre, il y a un nombre incalculable d'autres nombres. Et ceux qui pèsent, les jours de retard, les nombreuses relances, les impayés, les factures qu'on ne retrouve jamais dans ces mails. Bref, toute la galère administrative, celle qu'on déteste tous. En 2026, la facturation électronique devient obligatoire. Oubliez les relances interminables, les PDF perdus, la paperasse qui bouffe tout votre temps. Et pour être prêt, le jour J, je vous propose une chose. Choisir l'outil de facturation électronique conforme qui vous va le mieux. Et là, pas besoin de chercher midi à 14h, parce que vous avez Conto, mon partenaire, qui est 100% conforme et déjà opérationnel. Conto, c'est le compte pro français que j'utilise et que je recommande depuis toujours. Plus de 600 000 entrepreneurs l'ont adopté. Et l'avantage de Conto, c'est quoi? C'est que vous avez une solution qui est complète. Vous avez votre compte pro et votre facturation électronique conformes au même endroit, sans payer un outil supplémentaire. Et vous faites une facture en 1 minute. Et ensuite, les relances se font en un clic. La réconciliation facture-transaction est automatique. Et en ce moment, avec le code DOIT50, vous avez 50 € de remise sur votre abonnement sans engagement. Alors si vous aussi, vous voulez vous concentrer sur les bons chiffres et pas sur la paperasse, allez chez Conto, c'est conto.com/facturation, conto.com/facturation. Allez, on prend l'épisode.
I have so many questions about, we'll follow this conversation deeper because that's, I mean, literally what's, I can't sleep at night anymore. It's been a few weeks it's happening. I'm just spending my whole night either on my new Mac Mini or just trying to sleep and just getting all of those ideas, being so excited and
100%.
just the dream
same.
comes true. Like what you're just saying is like everybody was saying all the time, no, it's not possible. It's not priority. There's no priority here. There's no, and now you're like, yeah, everything is fucking possible, mate. So
Everything is possible.
Before we go on, Yoni, I have many questions about security. You're managing a company you've created, eToro. What?
18 years ago.
I was about to say almost 20 years ago. And it's how many employees?
1,500.
1,500. And you're spending so much time on OpenClaw. And I want to figure out why and why do so many people don't even know about what we're talking about here right now. But before all of this, would you introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Yoni Assia. And I'm married to Assia, my wife, who's also a fintech entrepreneur.
I've seen that, yeah.
And we have 5 kids.
5
kids.
Oh my God.
So now they have Daddy Claw. And I started eToro. So I was always passionate about capital markets since I was very young. Like what I do is really my passion. I'm passionate about capital markets and I'm passionate about creating products and development. So I've been a finance geek since I was about 13. My first trade, my first programs when I was very young. I then tried to build things in finance for the next 10 years while studying finance as well in computer sciences. And I was a programmer.
Plus you had a grandfather in the finance industry?
Yeah, and it's funny because my grandfather, which is, by the way, a super interesting story in its own, fled Iraq before World War II. So Iraqi flew to Thailand to marry my Thai grandmother.
Oh, wow.
Then lived in Geneva and opened a Swiss bank, right? So sort of legacy in banking. Then my father thought that banking is boring, although my grandfather wanted him to go into banking.
Sure, yeah.
And went into build a software company called Magic Software, which actually, funny enough, is about rapid application development and had a very big presence here in France for many years.
Rapid application development.
Yeah, it's what...
what you're describing, sorry, Yoni, here is a claw. You're a claw, actually. You're a claw from your grandfather, your father. It's like finance, tech, and rapid application development. My God, everything is...
Exactly. so it's there. And I started the company. So after the army, I started the first company, by the way, completely unrelated. Maybe one thing, which is putting in video cameras on roller coasters.
All right, why not?
And when you go out of the roller coaster, you buy a video of you doing the entire roller coaster.
I was asking myself on which way was the camera, because on one way it was not very easy, of course.
Yeah. So, but it actually sent like MP4 on Wi-Fi. We built a special purpose computer on a roller coaster, connected to cameras to send it over Wi-Fi in MP4 with a battery that when the train stops has to hook up.
When was that?
This was like 2003.
Oh, wow.
So this is like really old tech, but like connecting
pixels.
these 40 pieces, hardware. I went into places like Canada, freezing cold, to actually sit in a booth and actually building the cameras and putting it on the roller coasters. I learned a lot during my first startup, and then it was like very clear that the economics are extremely hard. In that startup, it was eventually sold to Kodak, which is actually the biggest company. When you go to a roller coaster today, you get a video.
Yeah, sure.
A picture. That picture usually is from a Kodak system. So they eventually bought the company, not for a lot. And then I started eToro together with my older brother and a friend of mine who did masters in computer sciences with me.
Your older brother is a tech guy too?
So my older brother is actually, now he's a tech guy, but back then he was in industrial design. He did his, in the Royal College of Arts in London, actually studying industrial design. So he's a designer and a product guy. Like he used to paint things when we were young. He used to paint, I don't know if you remember, there was these D&D pieces, the small Dungeon and Dragon metal things.
Yeah. Dungeon and Dragons.
And he used to paint them to perfection. And I used to take them and sell them at school.
No way.
So we were always...
You're not a tech guy.
So I'm a tech guy and a hustler. I business and finance, it's like finance geek. And it's funny now, my kid is doing exactly the same. And my wife told my kid, like, you stop selling people at school stuff from home. It's not okay.
Do you agree?
It's so funny that he's doing exactly what I did.
It's okay.
But it's okay. He told me, what do you mean? If I buy cheap and sell high, that's what that explained as businesses.
Sure.
And I tell him, but the product has to match customer demand, product market fit. But so that's, us. And then we started eToro, we're really with the same vision that we have today. This was very early days.
It was another name, wasn't it?
No. Well, there was a company name called Tradonomy, which was trading economy.
Okay.
But it was always about how do we open the markets for everyone to trade and invest in a simple and transparent way. Now, this is 2007, pre-crypto, pre-mobile, desktop app, right? So an actual desktop app you download. And we really started the concept of democratizing finance. We were really early to the concept of democratizing finance.
So we had at the time, at least in France, but I guess it was the same everywhere else, we had like all of these OGs like Boursorama or ING or I don't know, all of those guys. They were like really desktop. Maybe they were bought already by Société Générale. But what was your singularity? What did you bring to the game at the time?
First user experience, right? So a combination of me and my brother and our third partner who was the CTO back then, which is if you wanted to open back then an account in Boursorama, it would take you days or weeks, and you would fund it with a wire that would take more. And the user experience, by the way, is still very bad. And the user experience was horrible, right? So when we pitched eToro, I loved it when my brother used to come with a Sony remote. Maybe that was later on. But he would say, like, the problem in finance is, you remember the remotes of like in the past where you had like 100 buttons on a remote.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That people said like functionality, add another button. And now look at the Apple remote, right? A single button.
Yeah.
So it was really about designing a user experience that makes trading much simpler, much more enjoyable, and much more accessible.
That was 2008, you said?
7, yeah.
2000. And wow, that was not a right moment. Was it right after we had the subprime thing? What I'm thinking is just, it's when I stopped trading for like another 15 years before I discovered eToro early 2020. And I had like literally 12 years of no trading because I was traumatized.
I had, by the way, exactly the same story with the dot-com bubble.
Yeah.
Right? So I told you I started trading very early on. I made like, as a 60-year-old, I made maybe $300,000, which is a huge amount of money.
Yeah, sure.
And then I lost 90% of it roughly when the dot-com bubble burst. And because of it, I sold probably in 2001, 2 or 3, my Apple stock, my Amazon stock. And then didn't trade almost, I think, until I founded eToro.
Oh.
Like I was after being in that process, so very similar, but 8 years after. But actually what I learned, and it was a part also of sort of setting up eToro, because I was always looking for algorithms to beat the market, is that when you build the infrastructure for traders and investors, then actually it's interesting because traders and investors, they sort of, there's some harmony, yin and yang between them. Because actually when the volatility rises, right, like now, gold, silver, oil, suddenly you have the traders trading a lot. You have investors that become much less active. But traders who are taking opportunity of volatility, they love volatility.
Yeah.
So in 2008, like, first of all, it was a very insightful moment for eToro because we saw like the market stop, which I've never seen before. So what happened is like we actually saw the banks closed the day, and the next day you didn't know whether the bank is going to open. And when you looked at the screens, at the quotes and the screens, it's like somebody pulled the plug. It's like the financial markets stopped working. And it helped me, like, that was like a very deep realization of mine that financial markets don't operate correctly and that it has to change. And then I started writing about Good Dollar, which relates to blockchain later on as well. But it also led us to find Bitcoin very early on and fall in love in Bitcoin. Because I was saying financial markets can't work if somebody can pull the plug. Like financial markets have to operate 24/7 without the banks or governments being able to pull the plug.
But it's still the case, isn't it?
But it's gradual. But that's my my falling in love in crypto was looking at Bitcoin and saying it's unstoppable. It's unstoppable technology. Nobody can pull the plug on Bitcoin.
When did you buy your first Bitcoin?
We bought it for eToro for $5.
No way. Just one?
Well, no. We bought like about 3,000 to 4,000 Bitcoins.
No way.
$5, $10, $50. Then like we came to eToro and we said, okay, we want to launch Bitcoin. It took us 2 years to explain to regulators what Bitcoin is. 2 years from the moment we started buying and saying, hey, we want to do this. We launched it in 2023, end of 2013, right? So 13 years ago.
We could buy already Bitcoins on eToro in 2013.
Yeah.
No way.
And we launched it when Bitcoin was, I think, $1,200. September, October, November 2013. This was like what I would call the first rally and first winter. A month or two after we launch it, it drops to 150. Everybody in eToro are like, Yoni, you just spent 2 years driving the regulators mad, us mad, figuring out how do we put this in the safe and how do we custody crypto, and it's dead.
Did you buy some more?
we didn't. So it was like, we didn't buy a lot. It's $50,000 eventually.
Yeah.
Like we bought $50,000 and then sort of forgot about it. Right? Everybody said it's dead. You could still buy and sell Bitcoin on the platform, but 1% of customers bought and sold Bitcoin. And then in 2017, Bitcoin starts rising again.
Yeah.
Going up,
2000,
up,
yeah,
up,
yeah.
2,000, 3,000, 4,000. But because Vitalik, I don't know if you know the story.
Yeah, of course. And I want you to tell it. I've seen he was was he an intern, a consultant?
Yeah, sort of an intern. So very similar to what I'm doing now, by the way, with OpenClaw. So I'm constantly telling people what I'm seeing now and what I saw in 2012 is exactly the same thing. It's 100% the same thing. And everybody's going to tell you I'm crazy. And trust me, I am. But nonetheless, this is inevitable. So I saw Bitcoin in 2010, 11, and I said, this is not about Bitcoin. This is about the entire financial system moving on chain. This is how finance should work. And I wrote a paper called Colored Coins, which is how can we use Bitcoin to tokenize real world assets, gold, silver, oil, euro, dollar. I went and I gave a lecture at CBOS, which is like a big banking conference. And I started writing about it, but I also started coding. I'm like, this is beautiful. You can actually build a decentralized exchange between euro and dollar. So not only can you have euro and dollar, which are 24/7, which it's crazy that they're not today yet, you can actually exchange them without a middleman. So you don't need financial institutions, middlemen anymore. So I wrote the first probably paper on decentralized exchanges and one of the first papers on colored coins. And then I posted it on a Bitcoin talk. And on Bitcoin
When
talk,
was that?
2012.
Okay.
And then on Bitcoin talk, I had some people, by the way, the Google group is still open. Like there's historical relics there that are crazy. The first NFTs on eToro are on colored coin, on Bitcoin are on colored coins. I had like crypto historians trying to get from me like keys of old crypto stuff. And then Vitalik answers me and says, I want to be a part of the project. I want to help build the project.
How old was he?
I think 18.
No way.
And I told him, if you complete the paper with me, if you help me complete the paper and the logic of how you build colored coins on top of Bitcoin, I'm going to pay you, don't remember whether it 10 to 40 Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin was low. I said, like, I'll pay you in Bitcoin. So he wrote the paper. We paid him. He came to eToro, I think, late 2012, spent a month in eToro. Maybe it was 2013. I don't remember exactly. And spent a month in eToro. And I'm like talking to him. I'm like, this guy is an absolute genius.
Was he?
And he wrote really mind-blowing paper.
At 18.
At 18. But at the same time that he's writing the paper, the other people in the group are writing the code. Right? So he writes brilliant level paper, but the actually people implementing it are writing code. And they start fighting, and it's all public. Like you can see them quarreling with one another, and then Vitalik at some point says, "Listen, I think we need to build another chain. Like I'm not sure Bitcoin is ideal for this." And there were dialogues about like Chromium, like can we build something? And eventually, like he disappeared. Like he said, I am leaving. I'm going to do something else, which was Ethereum, of course. So I got very offended. But by the way, this was probably the moment Bitcoin maximalism emerged, right? So all the people, and then Vitalik actually sends me the white paper of Ethereum way before the ICO. I was like, I'm not going to invest. It's a competitor, and Vitalik was supposed to work with us.
Oh, wow.
But I do send the white paper to my friends and my colleagues in eToro. Some of them have retired happily ever after. And I sent him an email saying, you're basically saying that you're going to do to the entire global legal system of contracts what Bitcoin is supposed to do to money. And he writes me, yes, that's a very good way to describe the smart contract system. Right? So smart contract system was like another leap that I think is crazy. And like, I think he was way ahead of his time. Nobody believed it worked. Like I talked to people at Ethereum at $1, at $2. Everybody in the Bitcoin echo chamber said, it doesn't work. He's a liar. He's a thief. He's a fraud. He just took money from an ICO. It will never work. You know, they tried to constantly say it. But if first of all, obviously it worked.
It's very brave. It's very courageous, I think, to just make the point. Like just say at some point, Bitcoin is not good enough. When you're 18 or 19, you have to take a lot of courage. But the thing is, what I want to say is that what you're saying now is like so many people didn't believe in it. Like if it's
the same as
I would
Bitcoin.
say, but I would say today there is still a lot of people who don't believe in it.
I of course we see it all the time, but I think now it's inevitable. I think, by the way, I think again there is like still 1% probability of crypto as a whole collapsing. Something between political and quantum computing.
Yeah.
If somebody hacks Bitcoin, right, which I think is a very low probability, it's like a systematic issue for all of crypto. But there's no doubt about the technology. I mean, the fact that you can build shared ledger at such scale and smart contracts, with the scale of, look at Aave or, some of the projects that basically build like a bank on top of on-chain rails. Yeah. Or think of the fact that you can swap 1 million different types of assets, right? There are more crypto assets in the world today, tradable on-chain, than 50 times more than the amount of public companies in the 50 exchanges that exist in the world, in all of the private, like it's, we've built this huge ecosystem that drives more volumes than the vast majority of capital markets in the world. So it's undeniable. It's here and it's here to stay. But also that I think now it's also undeniable that all assets eventually become digital assets, right? So if US capital markets are saying, US capital markets are moving on chain and goes to the DCC where they have $100 trillion and tell them, start experimenting with moving markets on chain. So, right. So the politics and governance and government and regulation are on the right path of making it a possibility. And on the other end, I'm looking at our customers and our younger customers, which is like, why are we still very bullish on crypto? Is I think while Bitcoin is already almost an undeniable reality, what you can do in DeFi today, I don't know how much are you like on MetaMask or like actually like playing around with...
A little bit. I used to play more, I have to say. I'm
probably buying more. NFT. You probably bought a lot of NFTs.
Not enough. Well, no, enough. Not enough of the right ones, I would say. Do you have a CryptoPunk or?
I have an ape. I sold my punk.
Okay.
I should have done the opposite.
Yeah.
I have funny stories about NFTs as well. I have like probably 1,000 here on my phone. But by the way, for anybody looking at this, don't worry. Anything, all the 1,000 NFTs on my phone are worth $1. So
no, but the funny thing about that is that actually I'm not an engineer, but still I'm a geek, as you can tell probably, and I did try, thanks to La Martingale, actually, which is my second podcast about personal finance, on which we started actually to work with Valerie and eToro, and thank you for that. I have to disclaim one thing. You're one of my historical sponsors. It's been 6 years now, and I want to thank you, Yoni, and I want to tell everyone that this is not a paid content, so it has to be clear for everyone. I do sometimes...
by the way, I love the story because coming here, like they told me very clearly, this is like the best, most known podcast in France for like leaders and stuff. So it's actually great job to Valerie that actually identified you as a rising star back then.
Very early. I was like 2 years old. I mean, she was, she's a
nice.
start. And she's a trustable persons, which is something we just evaluate above all. And I believe she knows we are a trustable person, which is important in the finance area.
Yeah.
And so on.
I'm gonna
So
get in trouble. Now, don't hire her from me.
no, don't.
No, not you, the audience.
yeah. I'm saying don't. I know. What I wanted to say, what did I want to say before you were talking about? Yeah, and so I created I minted, you say, my first NFT thanks to La Martingale, and it was such an experience. And well, fortunately, I did stop, and I hope I won't stop open close soon. But it was really, really funny to understand how everything works. And I think all of these has never been more accessible than today. Because, I mean, being kind of a tech guy, becoming a tech guy, not a dev, but not that far, I just ask Claude and ChatGPT and it explain, and I go on the terminal and say, you copy paste this, and I say, why do I do that? And he explain, and then I do it my own. And you're like, wow, this is, I mean, not that hard actually.
It's amazing. Like, I think this unlocks, which is super interesting, OpenClaw specifically, because Claude is quite hard yet. I also use Claude. I also use Codex. Like, I use everything. I try to give to people in eToro also everything that passes security. But OpenClaw is just unlocking, especially if you know how to build its capabilities. Like, really, I've seen people in eToro who are non-developers who just run with it, and then they show me what they built. And like the dev team is looking at this and they're saying like, you're crazy. Like, what, like, reduce the amount of what have you built a prototype? And they're like, no, it's working. And the
Do you have examples?
And the dev team is like, no, it's not working, because eventually you were responsible of taking this from your prototype and making it work in production. And I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm not sure. Maybe the model here needs to be different, because just for you guys in dev to understand what they built is going to take more time than they actually already built it. So I can give you, like, did I give examples? Like, one is DataClaw. I just sent it to gather data and to build database, like build our own Bloomberg. Like, go find data sources, find things, aggregate. So why? Because I know we're paying a lot for data, and I know it's hard for my AI to access this data, because to access, for example, our Bloomberg, I need to set up a server. I need to connect it. I can't give that data, of course, to customers. It's our own Bloomberg. So I know I need to have multiple data sources for a smart AI to make smart investment decisions. It needs to have large amounts of data. Then we started dealing a lot recently with decentralized exchanges and prediction markets. So we said, okay, let's start aggregating prices and aggregating multiple exchanges. So, I opened the first WhatsApp group probably 45 days ago with a team. And I'm like, Quandev, introduce yourself. So it goes, hi, I'm Quandev. I have the APIs to 37 perpetual exchanges and 20 prediction markets. I have the skills to build wallets, to trade in wallets, it goes like this. And then I start going on the WhatsApp. Okay, build for me a market making machine that does this and does that and and they see it, and it's like, and then they copy what I did, and they're like, some of them just went whoosh, and it's mind blowing to see it, because it's people who wouldn't imagine it's possible 2 months ago, 3 months ago. No, by the way, most people still think it's unimaginable. I'll give you, I have like, some of the examples are I'm building a new blockchain.
You know what? Probably, I don't know what's your take actually on this, but probably if you take the 10 CEOs of the 10 largest banks in the world, how many of them understand really what's happening with OpenClaw and agents?
I would say 0 to maybe 1.
See?
Yeah. No, I think banks... My grandfather was a banker, and we're a very regulated and compliant company. right? So I appreciate compliance and regulation, which also sort of, you can call it in another name that doesn't sound nice. So if my COO was here, she would tell me, don't say it. Bureaucracy, okay? Now, most people today think of the word bureaucracy, especially in tech, as a negative thing, right? Bureaucracy is like over-process, right? That's what people think of bureaucracy. But there's a reason for bureaucracy, especially in banking. So I'll tell you the story and why the similarities to blockchain, but also why it's so important what the banking system built that now has to be changed. So when my grandfather built his bank, there were no computers. Think about it. Most people today in banking or finance, I would tell them, now explain to me how you manage a bank. You have 20 different branches. How do you manage a bank? No computers. It's like most people can't even think about this, right? And how you manage it is actually very interesting. It's actually the earliest version of blockchain. So if I'm an account manager and you're my customer, I have a book with your name, and I open the book in the last block, and it tells me how much money you have in the bank in pen and paper.
Is
now
that book copied somewhere? I mean, what if the bank...
No, I'll tell you how they do it. And then you come to me and you say, I want to move money to Valerie.
Or Valerie, okay.
And I go...
Sorry.
Or to you as well.
Clément,
to Clément as well. Okay, but to both.
Yeah.
And then you say, I ask you, do you have her bank number and what bank she is? And you tell me. And Clément is in the same bank as you, but Valerie is in a different bank. And I write it. Okay, thank you. But you now have 50-50 less. Close the book. Now, at the end of the day, 5 o'clock, comes a guy on a motorcycle to the branch. And the finance person of the branch collects from all of the account manager. I'm an account manager. Branch manager takes, and the finance manager takes all of the books of the branch and goes, okay, you wanted to move to Clément. Is she in the same branch? Yes. Where's Clément book? Here's Clément book. Plus, minus, done. Valerie is in a different branch. Okay, and he goes like this over all of the ledgers, consolidates them to the branch ledger. Then someone goes...
What you call a branch is another bank, or is it...
No, same bank.
Okay.
Different branches, like different places in Geneva, in Switzerland.
Okay, cool.
Okay, like what's a branch today of a bank, right? So like sure. A physical place. Then a guy goes with a motorcycle between all of the different banks, takes from each bank 2 ledgers, and then goes to the central branch. In the central branch, a guy sits and say, okay, I see that in branch number 1, Matthieu wanted to move to Valerie, which is in branch number 2. Write it in branch number 2. And goes like this, and then saves the central branch, like the central all of the branches, which now also has 2 copies, because it also has all of the things you need to do with the other banks.
So it's centralized, as we say, right?
It's a centralized blockchain, but creating that actual block is very similar, right? So it's collecting all of the data from everybody. The next day, all of the branches, like when they finish, all of the branches get their documents, but some of it is settled and some of not. So everything within the bank potentially is settled in T+1. But if you also moved, let's say, to Yoni, also $50, euros, whatever, but I'm in a different bank, then you're in negative, but he's not yet in positive because he will only get it T+2. In the system till today, how does it work? T+1, T+2.
That's why we don't have...
real-time payments. Because historically, you had to close the books of the bank once a day and to settle with other banks in your bank, it has to be T+1.
Insane.
And in other banks, it has to be T+2. And overseas, it's T+5. Because everything had to go with pen and paper. And when we created the financial system, then computers, etc., everything was built on the notion that the banking system block is once a day. And it still works like this till today across the entire banking industry.
So they have what you're saying is that they have to figure out things before they get interest for open flow, actually, or
it's again, and why again coming back to bureaucracy. So the rules, without rules, banking doesn't work. Old banking doesn't exist at all. If not everybody follows the rules, there is no banking. Like banking is about creating rules and trust, and those rules have to be done exactly in the same way. And if somebody loses trust in the system, it doesn't work, right? We have a lot of issues in banking in the past. So,
but you're playing in the same yard, in the same game, right, Yoni?
Yes, but when you say that the first thing you want to do is bring in always the innovation first, right? So I brought in Bitcoin in 2013. We went mobile first in 2016. We started using machine learning in 2017. Now we're opening up clause. Like, you have to say, what am I first, a tech company or a bank or a financial institution, right? So we always chose, I think a lot of the tech founders and fintech industry, we are a product first, tech first company that has to follow the same rules and adapt to the rules what we want to do, where traditional banks are still usually managed by people who are not product first or tech first company. So I'll give you an example. Yep. I used to say that user experience, like I raised money from people, across the years, and I said, listen, user experience in trading and investing is so important. User experience is what makes product market fit. And people told me, like, what? I can buy stock in my Citibank account. What's the difference, right? And the reality is there's a very big difference. Like, costs and friction and user experience count a lot in any app, right? Especially like younger generation apps, it counts. But they didn't get it. But also, from all of my friends, I think the only ones who didn't eventually buy Bitcoin relatively early are those in finance, right? So usually when you're in an industry and you've been taught to be that industry, you tend to not believe what's coming to disrupt you.
Yeah, sure. You have to be very lucid.
It's like people get engraved and this is how we do it, and say that others can't disrupt it until it's usually too late.
But it was it used to be a nightmare to buy cryptos. I mean, I don't know how it was on eToro in 2012, but I mean, even 5 years ago, 6 years ago, in most places, you had to get all of these ledgers or...
we made it super simple always to buy Bitcoin because you just came onto eToro,
put your credit card,
put it through your credit card, buy and bought Bitcoin just like stock. So we early on decided to look at crypto like it's US. From your point of view, buying Bitcoin and Apple is exactly the same thing. One click of a button it works.
So that means that for a long time you wouldn't own crypto, would you?
You would still own it.
Like you can have it, you can download it to your wallet.
You can move it to your wallet. So you can move it to your wallet. Yeah,
from 2012 or 2013?
No, from 2019 we launched the wallet.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2019 we launched a wallet, but then this is probably why you're asking, because we're here in France, because there wasn't regulation. MiCA just came in, and because we were one of the largest crypto players in Europe. And then suddenly each country decided to have their own rules.
All right.
So each country, Germany, Netherlands, France, each decided you need to get a local license to have actually the crypto wallet.
So you had to go after...
So we opened the crypto wallet. We got licensed for crypto trading, which is our main European company. But then we had to choose, and every license is like it's very hard to get financial licenses. Like getting financial licenses is, fit and proper, a 100-page document, a business plan, a regulator that reads every page and comments and asks questions. So we had to pick and choose, where do we open the wallet? Which markets do we apply for a license? Is it, a reasonable process that we knew already that MiCA is coming? Right? So we knew there's going to be regulation to passport everything. But in the meanwhile, a year or 2 years, we had to decide do we close the wallet in, the Netherlands or in France? Or do we apply for the license? And, applying for the license, getting a license, let's say it's $500,000, $1 million, roughly, and operating it. And then once you operate it, you already have people on the ground. And, we're across, which is one of the, by the way, big decisions that, now we're always thinking about it, but we are spanned through 12 different regions, all of the countries in Europe, UK, Australia, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, Latin America, and the US. So everything we build and do, we suddenly need to do. And if you now think of Europe, our biggest country. That
was my next question. Which is your biggest country?
Europe is 50% of our business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if Europe suddenly, I need to get a license in every single country separately, that's it's just too expensive to manage it.
What's your second region? US or Americas?
So it's if you look at our regions, it's roughly UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain. Then it goes through Australia, Singapore, Asia, Middle East, US, roughly.
Okay, interesting. Israel is big, or?
Israel is very small, actually, because historically I still sit on the board of actually the largest investment house in Israel. Where we manage $150 billion, which is also an interesting story. So the way I learned about investing was the founder of a company called Meitav, and I was an 18-year-old going to courses to learn about portfolio management.
Okay.
Then when at some point, one of the biggest investors in eToro actually invested in that person's company, in Meitav, and they merged two big companies to eventually become the largest investment company in Israel. And his son, so the person who taught me everything about capital markets, his son sits on my board,
right,
and I sit on their board. But we said early on, listen, if we're both on boards and you're doing everything we do in Israel, we won't be we want to operate outside of Israel.
Let's not compete, right? Okay, interesting.
But it's still not written in paper or anything like that. We just decided, okay, we'll go international and we'll learn from each other and what you do in Israel.
What's interesting is that on all of those markets, I believe you have different sociologies, philosophies. I'd say, the way we see, and I'm really curious about that. Maybe it's the same. Europe is not that different with the US, but in France, for example, I remember that when I started, and I know maybe you won't like what I'm going to say, but when I started with eToro and started working with Valerie, my message was this app is so fantastic. I feel like it's a gaming app. And she was no. You can't say that. You can't say that. It's not a gaming app. And it's it's not allowed. So it's because it's very regulated. Yeah. She was very no, it's not gaming. It's very serious and it's money. So you should not. And I was who cares? Many people cares.
Yeah.
And then what I saw is that the press and people, one thing that is very big at eToro since the very beginning is copy trading and copy portfolio. And you're going to explain me what it is, how it works, and so on. But I know and I hear in France, many times, and I don't know if it's the same in other markets, you'll tell me, a lot of media outlets, a lot of people hate copy trading, probably because some influencers have done shit with it. I don't know. Maybe you'll tell me stories. But still, at the end, my point is that what you're selling, you have to be 18 years old to go on eToro. You're running your own money. And there are rules. You can read them. You can it's dangerous. You put a lot of warnings. When I tried the when you use the leverages.
Yeah.
I did try it at the very beginning for like 50 euros, and I've lost everything. But you do it once.
Yeah, you lost your 50 euros. I call that learning.
Yeah, exactly. And then never used leverage much. Just a little bit sometimes. But I don't know. The press about this in France is very bad.
I think it's very similar. So first of all, I don't remember who said this. If you're building something that's disruptive and you don't have a lot of people who tell you it won't work and it will hate you for it, then you're not really disrupting. And I think that for years, the entire finance industry is very protective of itself, right? And historically,
decades.
The messaging is, by the way, it's very clear. So I know where it's come from, right? Because I've now studied finance and capital markets and banking for so many years, but I also heard it from very, very senior people. So finance generally in wealth management is about intimidating your customer to not want to touch his money. Why is that? If you have a customer who deposited $1 million in the bank and it sits there in cash and generates 0 interest rate, that's the best thing for you as a bank. You take the $1 million and you lend them. And it's yours. So you actually, but if the financial advisor in the bank is a good friend of yours,
he's going to tell you,
friend, he's going to tell you at least maybe do a bank deposit. And the maximum I can give you is half the interest rate, but at least do a bank deposit. And then he won't be scrutinized. But if you buy a money market fund, which gives you double the rate, now it's not in the bank anymore, right? So the entire banking system is based on the fact that the most amount of money that they will make, which is taking your money, leave it in cash, they want to lend the money and make that money, that their core business, right, is for you not to invest your money.
100%. And like most of French people do that, and nobody cares, and nobody says anything.
But it's crazy because it's a huge conflict of interest. Because if you think of what capital markets do, they generate very nice returns over time. But if most money in the money system is in banks, and what actually banks want you is not to invest your money, then they have a sort of a conflict that leads them also to the notion where we don't really want to talk to the customer either. Because if we educate the customer, if we explain to the customer that what he needs to do is buy an S&P ETF, we won't be making money anymore. Right? So it's a huge problem. And the biggest thing I've heard from wealth managers, right? So I have money in different very large banks, the bulge brackets, what's called. You know that they don't have a mobile app? A company that manages $1 trillion doesn't have a mobile app. And I asked my friends who work in the ecosystem, why don't they have a mobile app? And by the way, most of them don't have the ability to buy stock. You have $5 million today in Goldman Sachs, Citibank, but you don't have a trade button.
No way. In the interface.
You don't have a trade button in the interface, period. That's the vast majority of wealth management firms in the world, the big banks.
So you can't open it on their interface. You have to go on somewhere else.
You have to talk to somebody. You have to talk to your wealth manager. And I asked them, why does that happen? So some of them were my friends, because if the person will make his own decisions, he won't need me. Or if the person will actually like the app of the bank, when I leave the bank and then take all of my customers to go to my new bank, because that's how the business works, they won't come with me because they still want to use the bank app. So I have zero interest in our customers having an app. And the entire bank is based on the wealth advisors who basically tell the bank, the customers don't want an app and they don't need an app. And if they'll have an app, they'll figure out your bank doesn't have a good app and they'll go to eToro. And that's like a manifestation of everything in finance is almost the opposite of what you would call in tech, customer first, product first, to look at engagement.
Skin in the game.
Like their common sense is the opposite. Like common sense in finance in many cases, and I talked to a lot of very senior people, it's the opposite of tech. They think that engagement with a customer is bad. If a customer logs into your app, many times that means he's going to churn.
Yeah.
And historically, again, if a bank customer would come into the branch and knock on a door and came in every day, one, it would cost you a lot of money. Second, it's probably a bad sign.
How big is eToro now? How much money do you run? You said
we're
1.5 thousand people, something like
yeah,
this?
we're about 1,500 people in eToro managing. We have 50 million registered users on the entire social network, right? So where you can talk about the markets. We have about 4 million funded brokerage accounts. So people that have money in eToro, about $20 billion.
That's about 10% of the total.
Yeah, but that's the total is like people who registered across 18 years to eToro, and then there's the ones who have money now.
Yeah.
And they have about 18 to $20 billion, depending on where crypto is today. So that's roughly the range.
What's the part of crypto out of the 20 billion?
It's about 35 to 40% now.
That's big.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's it's always that in stocks, right? So it's cash is probably 10%, 10 to 15%, and then the rest is crypto and stocks.
Do you have an idea out of the 20 billion, how many owns, like, is it like a 80-20 rule, like Pareto law? Do you have power users?
Not exactly. So we do have power users. We have a club program in eToro, which now we're actually transforming it into a subscription model.
Okay.
Because what we realized, I think 6 years ago is, and today, I think the event, I don't know if you're joining our event or not, the Diamond event.
Unfortunately not.
It's fun, by the way. You would have fun.
Yeah, I think I'd love, but there's a big PSG game tonight.
Yeah.
You can't do
those events. I'll bring a screen. I didn't know. But so diamonds are those with $250,000 and up.
Okay.
And what we realized as we started growing rapidly in 2017, 18 was like an inflection point in eToro. Then 2021 was another inflection point in eToro where we had probably $300 million. So we went from $300 million like to very fast to like 5 billion, then very fast to like 20 billion.
Okay.
And then suddenly we had very different types of customers, right? So in our customers, it's funny. It's always rolling, like it's always 5 years younger than me. Like our customers age together with me, but 5 years younger.
It's not that good. You have to get the customer that don't age 1 year every year because. But in the finance area, it's good because they get richer and richer.
Exactly. By the way, it's a very interesting question on how do you manage this because we're very Gen Y focused, and I'm the oldest of Gen Y, and I keep on realizing that I need to refresh and have like also a Gen Z strategy, which are thinking very differently, especially, by the way, in crypto. So
one thing, very important thing, but this morning I was talking with my daughter. She's 13, so definitely too young to invest on eToro. But I would still love her to use like a free version or...
Yeah, tell her to open an account with a demo version.
Yeah.
So... you open it on your name, and she has a demo version with virtual money. That's what I did with my son when he was 13, by the way.
And because she was interested.
And then he made money, and then I opened him a sub-account under my sub-account so he can access it, and I funded it, so it's my sub-account.
Okay.
And basically, he can use it.
But she was...
But I gave him 1 year to trade virtual money, like only virtual money. And he would ask me, what to buy this, to buy that? And then I go and see, like, what did you buy? What is this company? He's like, I love Roblox. So I bought Roblox.
Yeah.
And like, but why did you buy this company? He's like, because I saw it went very high and then it went very low. So it will probably go very high again. So I bought it. I'm like, okay, maybe you're a trader. That's not a bad thing.
Interesting.
But he made like $50,000, like on a 100,000 virtual money account, he made $50,000. And he comes to me after a year and he's like, Dad, you should have given me real 100,000 euros and real money.
Baby. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not sure I would have given you, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't give you 100,000. But I'll give you now 5,000 out of the 50 virtual money. I gave him $5,000. And now he's trading. He's learning, by the way, because he bought Bitcoin, I think, at like 110,000. So he's learning. And then he calls me and says, Dad, is it okay if I also use leverage? And like, you should know, it's very risky. There's a chance the position is going to close because if Bitcoin goes down. But he says, don't you think eventually Bitcoin goes up? I say, it will, but you might lose it before it has that chance.
You know what
it's
is leverage on trading, Clémence? Can you explain leverage?
Sure. So again, in stocks, for example, you can come to eToro and deposit $1,000 and then say, I want to buy with those $1,000 worth of Facebook. Or you can use 2-time leverage and then buy $2,000 worth of Facebook. So we basically provide the leverage through the banks for you to be able to actually buy more. And it's, by the way, most of the trading infrastructure in the world is extremely highly leveraged, like on the back end.
So, but that means, Clémence, that if you, for example, bring $1,000 and you want to buy $10,000 of Facebook, that becomes very risky. Yeah. Because there is one reason of that, is that you just have $1,000, remember. You buy those $10,000 and the meta
goes down 10%. You're done.
You've lost your $1,000. Boom, zero. Yeah. So it's not minus 10%. It's minus 100%. Yeah. You get what I said?
Yeah. So leverage, by the way, like Warren Buffett says on leverage, that it's mass destruction, like it's weapons of mass destruction of wealth. So his view is very negative. In many cases, regulators' view are very protective. We want to make sure that in eToro, people understand the risks, right? So I believe that complex instruments are an important part of finance, right? So
just to make sure we go at the end of this, because I started with the losing money, but you buy these $10,000 out of Meta, it goes up 10%, becomes from 10,000 to 11,000%. You came with your 1,000, you've made 1,000, so it times 2. So it's, there's no free lunch, right? Yeah.
So again, that's the idea. Now in what's very popular now in crypto is prediction markets, right? Yeah. They're all extremely high leverage. By the way, leverage in Europe was managed, right, by regulators. So they said no more than 5 times on stocks, no more than 2 times on crypto, right?
I think I did more, but a long time ago. When was that?
But it's probably a long time ago. Like gradually that was managed to limit leverage, right? The higher the leverage, the more risk you take.
And is it for everyone, or if I'm a kind of professional?
You have to be. You need to have certain level of experience, knowledge, and wealth in order to be able to trade in leveraged products. Now, my view generally, like if you look at my portfolio, and I'll go back now to copy trading and smart portfolios.
Is it public, your portfolio?
It's public. I have an average of 30% for the last 12 or 13 years.
Okay.
But you will see an extreme diverse portfolio, right? So my view, and that's why I started eToro, is I believed, I'm learning about finance, but I need to learn from more people. So when I was young, I used to think that when I grow older, I will go and work in Goldman Sachs so I can see a lot of people who understand finance, so I can consult with, pick up the phone to London, to New York, to Singapore. And when we started eToro, the concept of like the unique part of eToro is the pro investor program.
All right.
You go into eToro as an amateur or as somebody who's smart, who wants to manage his money in eToro. We have very smart people. And if you actually generate consistent results over time, people start following you and copying you because your portfolio is public. Now,
So they would do the same, just themselves.
so you copy, you see someone's portfolio, you copy him with $5,000, it copies 100% of what he does into your portfolio, and every time they trade, it trades in your account at the same time, the same price, the same proportion. Now, this is only at eToro. We're the only company in the world that does it across crypto and stocks and commodities. It's like, I love it. And when I met Warren Buffett, I said, wow, this is my aha moment, that I realize how important it is. Because if you look at the number 1, 2, 3 guys in eToro today, number 1 has $300 million copying him. That's like a hedge fund manager. He makes more than $1 million a year from us.
So $300 million
Copying him.
copying. So when he buys,
So he buys, let's say he has $100,000 in his $100,000. He buys $10,000 of Facebook. We go and buy $30 million of Facebook. Right? So first of all, there's a lot of technology and infrastructure around it, regulatory moat around it. But the most amazing thing is when I meet them, so once a year we do the Pro Investor Summit. First of all, the big ones have to become professional investors. So we train them, and they need to do actual exams and get a certification, which is called a money management certification, where they really learn everything about capital markets. Interestingly, that's the same course I did when I was roughly 18, right? So we actually take a person from zero to hero, right? From somebody who is usually not in finance, right? He's not a money manager. But then because he's talented and people copy him, he actually becomes a celebrity on eToro that's being copied. And again, number 2, Yepe, $200 million. Number 3, I think is $150 million. And then you hear their stories and you hear their talent and you look at their performance and it's wow.
I would say the radical or the honest question we should have about this is the skin in the game they have. Like you were saying, like, for example, this guy, he trades for 100,000 euros and he makes $1 million a year. So his interest is even more into being copied than making money, but still he has to be performant.
He has to, like, people who lose performance in eToro go very fast down the, like, it's a very competitive and open environment.
Yeah.
Because if you look at my portfolio, I'm copying now 95 people.
And could you have an ETF, like of the 10 most performant eToro guys?
So in 2017, that was my first process with machine learning. Mm-hmm. We said, okay, we have like 1,000, but there were 2 questions. One, how do you pick the best ones? No, we had 1 million, right? So how do we pick the best ones to copy? And we started building like a lot of algorithms to try and predict who's going to be good. And that was after a while where we learned that letting people pick in a list and say, sort by performance is the worst possible strategy.
Sure, because I mean,
because history doesn't only, like, the history that does repeat itself is if you try to copy somebody who made 500%, most chances are you're going to lose money. If you're copying somebody who for the last 10 years did on average 30%, there's a very high probability you're going to make money, right? So consistency over time and risk versus reward, or risk management being managed over time, is what we learned is key. And again, it's what we learned, but it's also what every money manager in the world, right, learned before that. Like managing money is about risk management over time. But if you look at funds and versus our customers' portfolios are actually much better because they're trading on their own risk, right? So they can take more risk, and then investing in them is taking that same risk that you see what other people do. And then we developed the first smart portfolio on eToro. First smart portfolio on eToro was an algorithm that picks the top 20, then another one top 30, top 50 on different types of algorithms, and rotates them every quarter. So the algorithm, what it did, it tried to predict what are the chances, what are the highest probability top investors in eToro to generate returns of more than 2% next quarter. So we actually built it on probability. By the way, it's running now since 2016 till today. So like a track record of 10 years, double-digit returns.
Double digits.
Double-digit
every
returns. Not every year. Some years probably
but
are
on
down,
average.
but on average. And then that created a new segment in eToro, which are smart portfolios. Today, we have 120 different smart portfolios where you can invest in things like, every time there's something interesting.
Vaccine tech.
Nuclear energy, and now worldwide oil is something we actually launched in Corona, but now is very popular.
Did you have this portfolio with the guy who made fitness weightlifting? Have you heard about that?
No.
Because one guy made the point that all of the CEOs that were lifting weights, they would have better performances than.
So I heard two theories. One is founder mode. So we do have a founder mode. So it's investing in the top companies where the founder is the CEO.
Okay.
I love that theory.
Yeah, so do I.
I then heard this theory about the weightlifting things, but I don't weightlift, so I don't like that theory.
Yeah. So okay, very interesting. I think I like those portfolios, and I've made good money out of it and lost a bit. The vaccine tech is a trauma for me because I probably went there too late, I think. But
by the way, sometimes again, my biggest lesson is in many cases, like just don't, if the thesis makes sense, verify your thesis and ask around and ask people in eToro. But try not to sell something because it's losing money.
Yeah, sure.
And only invest what you're willing to sort of take the stomach for, right? But again, in a lot of cases, if a theory around an ecosystem works, nuclear energy, right? I have no doubt nuclear energy is a very, very, very big industry because for years it has been underinvested.
Yeah.
And now it's coming back. And we have an energy crisis, oil, all the wars in the world are around oil.
Plus Europe wants to be independent.
And Europe has to be now independent. So it's inevitable. Now, who wins? I sometimes say, that's beyond my pay grade, right? I don't have...
You just take the winners.
Nuclear energy specialists in eToro. I have AI. I have two things. I have AI. I have specialists in investing. And I have the market, the data of our customers, right? So I look at our customers and I'm looking at what are the nuclear stocks that they're trading. And then what are the ones that our best customers are trading. And then I run AI that runs a methodology of their PE, their revenue growth, etc. And we build a portfolio that's being rebalanced for you. So if nuclear energy works, which again, I believe it does, I'm a very big believer in that portfolio. But if you went when it was extremely hyped, where all the prices of all these companies peaked, which was not so long ago, then you need to wait more for that to make money.
Yoni, you just talked about AI that helps you on a daily basis. We talked earlier on about OpenClaw quite a lot. And you said one thing, I have to find it around, looking for algorithms to beat the market. That's one of your obsession. I see on Instagram and everywhere, I see all of those guys, girls just saying I've given my portfolio to OpenClaw or to Claude, and he's made my whole investment strategy doing based on this, that. Here's my prompt and so on. Is there a way that I can plug in an eToro API?
Yeah, we just recently launched, we call it Agent Portfolio.
All right.
And the reason it's safe,
my agents.
You go with your account to eToro, you open it now on mobile. It says Agent Portfolio. You click it, it creates for you an API key.
Okay.
You say, I want to put $1,000 into it. And what it does, it's the same as copy trading. It works on the same technology. It creates for you a portfolio with $1,000. Then you go to your OpenClaw, you give him the API key. and you say,
You
this is
will
the
trade for
API
me.
key to eToro, go and trade in my eToro account, this strategy, that strategy, run a cron job every day or every 30 minutes and trade in my $1,000. And the reason it's great is because you put $1,000, it's in your account in eToro. You can see it in your account in eToro. If you want to deposit more into it, you just increase your investment in your own sub-portfolio. And if it's gone rogue, worst case, it's $1,000 in your eToro portfolio. It doesn't have access to anything else. So we just launched it like 2 weeks ago because I wanted it for my open flow.
Yeah, okay, I get it. One honest thought I have about that is that on OpenClaw, I mean, it's small money, but I've spent probably $15 a day since a couple of weeks out of tokens from Claude, which, for example, if it runs a 1,000 euros portfolio, will be way too much because it would be 1.5% every day. Plus, if I would add the fees, I don't know what are the fees. What are the takes I have on the fees on eToro? And actually, the people who don't like you, they say that it's full of hidden fees. Honest question, is that true? Or how do you work? How do you make money? Where is your cut?
So first of all, I think there's zero hidden fees in eToro. And if there are, it's a problem somewhere in marketing or communication.
Okay.
On stocks, we're very clear. We charge $1 per trade. Here, in some places in the world, it's actually zero, like the UK and the US.
Yeah, it used to be zero even in France.
It used to be zero. And what we learned is that a lot of Europeans, both, by the way, regulators and customers, don't like to pay zero.
I like to pay zero.
No, I'll tell you why. Because they become suspicious.
Yeah, sure. Where do I pay?
Where do I pay?
Sure.
What if there is no free lunch? While Americans and Brits love zero. Right? Here, by the way, regulators as well. Regulators across Europe basically told us, we don't like you offering commission-free stock trading.
But where were you making money then?
So first of all, the biggest part is actually some parts in leverage trading and crypto trading, right? So where we do charge fees.
Okay.
So in crypto, the basic fee is 100 basis points, which is cheaper than Coinbase and cheaper than PayPal and cheaper than Revolut. And then we have a lot of discounts that take it up to 10 basis points, right? So 90% discount.
Whoa.
Based on on the club that I told you before. So how much money do you have and what are the volumes? So we go as cheap as the cheapest and we start cheaper than the large players as well. That's on crypto. On leverage trading, we charge interest rate on the leverage, right? So if you buy something $1,000 and want to buy $5,000, we'll charge you on the $5,000 interest rate, and you pay 15 basis points.
Okay.
Right? So basically, we used to do commission-free stock trading as, commission-free, but then we would make money if a customer would actually go and use other products, which, by the way, again, regulators in the US and the UK, they're fine with it. In Europe, it's I think regulators don't like it if you bring in customer for one product, but then you'll make money out of the other product, and that product is a different product because there's questions of incentives. I think it's actually okay for a company to look at the customer as a whole. So, for example, on our savings products, we're losing money. Right? So we offer ISA in the UK. We offer here PER or life savings. We want to offer PA. My expectations
You can do PR in France? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, we're now going into all of the different savings markets. And I would probably assume that as a standalone basis, we are going to lose money on that business. But why do I want that business? Because I know if you're managing your savings in eToro, you'll be with me for the next 10 years.
Sure.
So I'll make money out of the rest. And the money out of the rest could be a lot of different things, right? So we have our Visa debit card. We have FX conversion. We have an IBAN now. We're competing with Revolut. So we're
I
adding.
can have a debit card.
Yeah, we have our debit card. You can connect now.
So it can become my bank account, kind of. Are you a bank?
We're not a bank, but we're both an e-money provider. So which gives us the ability, you can actually send and receive in euros. You can send and receive in crypto. And you can connect both your euros, dollars, and crypto account into your Visa debit card, right? So that's, I would say in payments that covers, and you can convert between different currencies, that covers, we cover probably 50, 60% of what people in the day-to-day do.
I can send and receive. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's still a small part of eToro as a whole, but it's a growing part because we have customers in many, many different regions, have different currencies. And I do believe that there's I believe the real opportunity of eToro is to take real market share from the $140 trillion generational transformation of wealth happening in the next 20 years.
My God, that's going to be
right?
big.
That's a big number. Now think of Europe. Where is the vast majority of money in Europe? Local banks, local insurance companies, and local investment houses. Out of those three, the most advanced are the banks. And again, those three can't compete in innovation and UX, right? So there's $60 trillion in bank deposits and insurance policies. Like I joke, and I'm sorry, insurance companies, because I want to work with you on the app store that we launched today, which I'm going to tell you about. So insurance companies, don't be mad at me for saying it. But the insurance companies in Europe is like when the person dies, I think they're actually still sending checks in the mail.
Well, I would even say worse, that most of them, they're trying not to send anything.
Or maybe it's maybe you need to fax, probably. You probably need to fax somebody, and then the regulators will need to come and say, "Hey, nobody has a fax anymore." It's like it's crazy. It's so trillions. It's mind blowing how much money is. They don't have mobile apps. Nobody has access to it, and it's like stuck for 30, 50 years. People forgot about it. You didn't even tell your kids, and it's so much money stuck in really archaic solutions that are not fit to purpose, not to Gen Y, and definitely not to Gen Z, right? So I think that industry is almost by definition. And by the way, the asset management companies were very big as well, right? In Europe, do they have a good mobile app? You think? Companies who manage trillions, right? So again, banks, insurance companies, investment houses. That's where you have, in Europe alone, I think $60 to $80 trillion today. That's only Europe.
Don't you think that Lovable and all of the vibe coding and maybe OpenClaw and are going to solve that?
No.
Won't they get decent mobile apps in the next coming years?
Some of them might, most of them not.
Because they don't want to.
Because it's somewhere in between, don't want and can't. It's like, it's hard. Again, everything can happen, right? So they can decide to buy eToro for $25 billion, put me as CEO, it will happen. But it's very hard to take a DNA of a company which thinks that product is a feature or an asset, like that product is paper, and change it to become a data-driven, technology-driven, product-driven company, right? It's just very hard. It might happen over time. And at that time, we'll continue to build our market share. Fintechs will continue to grow. But I agree, some of them adapt. Like I have no doubt JP Morgan is here to stay. Goldman Sachs is here to stay. Like I have no doubt. By the way, probably Soction is here to stay. I'm not saying they disappear. Some disappear. But it's going to be hard for them to capture an audience that they left behind.
Yeah. They have probably also too many people. Just explain me. So you said 18 to 20 billion asset under management. Is that what you call
Under custody.
Under custody.
Under administration.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your income? Is it 350 million?
No, about $870 million last year on about $320 million profit.
Okay. And how do you make that money? Just to understand the structure.
5 lines of business.
Yeah.
The biggest 2 lines are trading, transactional trading in crypto and transactional trading in stocks and capital markets.
Like the €1 you were talking about.
Yeah.
Or,
So again,
those,
in stocks
also?
and capital markets, it's the spread. It's very transparent. 15 basis points on stocks, about 5 basis points on gold and silver, if I remember correctly. And in crypto, it's a sliding scale, but it starts to 100 basis points and goes lower. And in stocks, it's $1 per trade, and that's it.
Okay.
We don't make money right now on copy trading and smart portfolios, so it's a free product to customers.
So even on the stocks bought within the copy trading,
we don't charge the $1, so you get it for free. If you copy someone and they trade stocks for free, if they trade in leverage, then 15 basis point. If they trade crypto, then 100 basis points.
That's where the 1 million for the guy goes. Okay.
So it's still we're actually sponsoring what we pay pro investors from our own capital, from our own marketing budget.
Okay.
Because our view is, again, like I said, it will always be my view. We look at the customer as a whole. I want you to make your first trade in eToro, and I want you to make your last trade in eToro. For you to make the last trade in eToro, I have to give you also more products which are very long-term products.
Sure.
Your pension, your savings, your banking. I might, on some of them, be very marginal, but I believe they will increase the total amount being spent on eToro, which is good for me long-term. I want you to open an account to your kids. I want you to join me when you're a kid and eventually open an account for your kids. That's, by the way, my favorite theory of investing is if I think that when I invest in a company, I liked the products when I was a kid, I buy the products for my kids, and I think that my kids are going to buy it for my grandkids, I want to buy that company and own it for the rest of my life.
Interesting.
Right? And by the way, if I stop believing, I can do it and then stop believing in it. But that's why I love Coca-Cola, I love McDonald's, I love Apple, I love Netflix. By the way, some people would hate Coca-Cola and McDonald's because it's not healthy for you. But since I buy McDonald's and Coca-Cola for my kids, I do it. And I have a feeling they're going to do it for their kids, right? I also have 5 kids. So if they will each have 5 kids, that's exponential growth of their business.
What are the other lines of business you said? Revenue?
Transactional, crypto transactional stocks, asset-based revenues, which is so the first 2 are usually about 60% of the revenues. Then asset-based revenues include interest rate. So we pay for our top customers top interest rate, like what we get from the bank, like all the way, more than the banks usually. But then depending on your club level, right, we'll pay less. But I think the base now in Europe is 3.5%, so still high. But we do have margin there. But when you leverage products, we make money out of the total. Basically, you want to buy with $1,000, $5,000 worth of Facebook. We make money on the $5,000. Okay. And we enable you to lend your stock, which is another asset-based revenue, and stake your crypto. So you can stake your Ethereum and actually make like interest rates on Ethereum, and we'll do roughly 50-50 with you. That depends, somewhere between 50-50
So when
to
you
70-30.
lend your stock, for example, the guy who is lending it, he gets the dividends and things out of it?
No, you get the dividends.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's, by the way, it's the entire world of finance on the back end works on leverage and lending.
Yeah.
And like the way you do short, right? So if you want to short a company, sometimes you want to go long, right? Most people will go long, but some people like to also short companies.
You believe it's going to be
sell the company.
Go down, yeah.
So what do you need to do? You need to borrow from someone, right? That's if we were the only ones, or we were doing this in crypto, I would tell you, give me your Facebook stock. I would bring you back your Facebook stock in 6 months and
the
pay
same
you
price.
all the dividends and everything. But I want to lend it to you and take, let's say, $5,000 for Facebook. I'm giving you now $5,000. You have that collateral. I either will bring you the Facebook stock or you take the $5,000. They're yours with interest rate, right? So if you trust me and we know it works, you're like, hey, my Facebook stock is still mine. And I get interest. I get $5,000 of collateral and I make interest rate. Good
trade.
Right?
Yeah.
I take the Facebook stock, I then sell it. Like the minute I take it, I sell it. Now I have the $5,000. So I didn't lose any money, right? In theory, like everything happens in real time. And I sold it, but I still owe you the Facebook stock. So if Facebook goes down, I actually buy it now at 3,000 and I give you back your Facebook stock and I made $2,000, right? That's shorting. So the entire ecosystem of finance works on the notion of institutional investors moving stock and move between them. And basically we just bring it to retail. A lot of the things we do, by the way, in eToro have a similar notion, which is we understand very deeply the finance world, whether it's in the edges of innovation like Bitcoin, or whether it is on the edges of financial engineering like market neutral strategies. I'm not sure whether you saw, we actually have smart portfolios which do long short strategies.
Yeah.
In the concept of long short strategies, it's probably too sophisticated sort of to explain on 2 minutes, but I love the concept because it's the concept of hedge funds, which control Wall Street, right? So hedge funds like Millennium and Point72 and Renaissance, right? So I'm a fan of anybody managing a lot of money.
Have you ever met the guys from Renaissance?
I met some of the people in the family office, Jim Simmons. I met Easy Englander, the founder of Millennium. I met Stevie Cohen, the founder of Point72. Add that to Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Dan Loeb. So I love meeting David Tepper, who's an investor of ours, or Bernard Arnault. Here, I consider, by the way, Bernard Arnault an investor, a very brilliant investor. Over
definitely,
time, right?
definitely.
He just invests not in public companies, but in brands, right?
Yeah. And creative brands. But I was thinking about, do you know this podcast called Acquired? Have you heard about this? They have this amazing episode with the Renaissance technology, Rentech. And it's impressive what a black box it is. We don't know how they do, but yeah.
So I believe
that's another story.
Today I was just meeting my own quants. And I told them, and I opened for them their clause. And I told them, you have now in your hands the amount of data that Renaissance has, more firepower and technology connected to my GPUs than Renaissance had in the last 30 years. Renaissance is generating 70% returns consistently for the past 70 years. I told them, like, guy, and this is the first time they were going on a Zoom with me. Like, some of them have never seen me before. This is what OpenClaw does, by the way. It shoves me into the organization because I'm looking for people to drive my claws. So I'm going down like 4 layers below me. Like, I need people to take my AIs. And I go to my quants, and they're very smart people. Some of them very young, financial engineering, second degree. And I'm telling, what have you been doing like the last 6 months? You're like A/B testing, you're running models. Then you go into one committee after another. You show us back. I'm like, nah, it's done now. I'm giving you AI in your hands, data in your hands. Show me alpha. Just show me double-digit returns. Build it in your agent portfolios, like our customers. And what I told them is, do you have doubt? Each of you have in your hands 1,000 engineers and 1,000 scientists, the smartest in the world. You all have them now in your hand. I just gave you 1,000 engineers and 1,000 PhDs in chemistry and biology, and all of the data sources in the world are being collected right now. That's how Renaissance made money. So if they made 70%, you go make me 25% a year. I'm not asking for a lot.
This is insane. Yeah.
It's insane, right?
Yeah.
And I told them, I know my friends that work in other hedge funds. Nobody has what you have right now. Nobody has right now an OpenClaw Now my OpenClaw is like a PhD, a professor in quantitative technologies, because like I give it research papers. I love this. I go and like find me the best research papers on quantitative trading, find me machine learning algorithms. Now go study Oracle Cloud, understand how to use GPUs, and like boom, and like comes in an hour and a half. Now this is like 50-year man-year project 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I tell them like, now drive this. You have AI, data, infrastructure, proprietary data of eToro, drive it. So, Renaissance is probably, I don't know, I think it's probably the best investment. Like, and the concept there is generally, they really bring scientists and unique data sources and find everything from short-term arbitrage, which is math, to data arbitrage, which is more sophisticated, and run huge amounts of multiple lines of alpha time series and then consolidate it. Now, you have a lot of research on it, but if you asked me 2 years ago, I would say I would never be able to like build something that is as big.
And that is open to everyone. What I'm saying is open. I mean, everyone smart and with the tech interest could use its own OpenClaw. Just a couple of questions. I really want to reopen this AI stuff because we just have like another long half hour together, and I want to just get your brain out of it. But so if I trade, the first thing I want to understand, like, because this morning we had that talk with the folks upstairs, and they were saying like if we take high frequency trading, if I do that on eToro, or I don't know, they say it would cost you like way too much. Do you have like specific?
But that's exactly why now we just introduced the scaled on crypto. Why? Because first of all, we're new to this. So I have to admit, like until now, roughly, we were like one price fits all. And the pricing of crypto in eToro didn't fit high frequency traders. The prices of stocks
when you roll, at the end of the day, you've spent 1,000, you have no money.
First of all, on an agent portfolio, there's no $1 per trade. It's free.
Okay.
Zero.
Okay.
On stocks. And on crypto, if you generate volumes, it could go all the way down to 0.1. Right? So a part of going API, we did realize we need to change pricing as well, and we did it. Right, so we basically solved it both through tech with the agent portfolio, and then with pricing as well. But
I just want this episode to be over so I can just try it right now. Yeah, I'm sorry, Yoni, I have to go.
But I'll do it with you. We'll test how everything works. But this is new. I mean, like it's for me. Like for years, we said we wanted to, like, if you can find episodes for me podcasting and saying like I believe in one price fits all, and like it's a part of strategy for people to be able like, and I think what happened is like I realized, but also I think user experience is changing. So up until maybe 6 to 9 months ago, I would tell you my customer, eToro customer, is a customer who is looking to find the best user experience on mobile now. And, with simplicity and user experience is a big part of the values in eToro, right? And when now I'm telling you, by the way, it's a part now of a rebrand process we're doing, right? About the term simplicity. Would love to hear your reviews. But I always said simplicity is one of the core values in eToro. Like, by the way, anybody you ask in like surveys would say simple, innovative, and like enjoyable or fun, or
that's
like,
what I was saying. Gaming, yeah.
That's the 3 parts.
Yeah, it has always been like that.
Always been a part of eToro, right? And now suddenly I'm telling you, I'm going to give you access to a GPU that has machine learning capabilities to do PhD level stuff and access to data about the weather to find correlations in order for you to trade it. But you're doing it in an agent portfolio, and AI is actually doing it for you. So, so something in user experience is changing. I believe I call it in eToro, agents are coming. This is the year where agents are coming. Because it's not necessarily OpenClaw. I think agents are coming for everything, and most money in the world is going to be managed by agents in 12 to 18 months. Maybe it's going to take longer. I have this tendency of sometimes I'm so excited about something that I think it's going to happen like very fast and eventually it takes more. I think in eToro, in 12 to 24 months, most trading activity is no longer people trading, it's agents trading.
Well, but that
And then the question is, how do you connect the story that I said to simplicity?
Yeah.
It's the simplicity of setting up an agent, telling him what you want, and making it as simple as possible for you to have a quant trading for you, right?
And that raises also another question, because you said earlier on looking for algorithms to beat the market. But my question after this one was, what about when the market is 99.9% of algorithms, right? Because you still have a counterpart, right? On those markets. So if I have my agents that are very good, and someday soon everybody will have agents that are very good.
There's a very famous story in economics, which is in economics there's what's called the perfect market, right? Which means if everybody has AI, then how does this still work? So there's this famous story of two people go and there's $100 on the floor, and one is a professor of economics and one is a Wall Street guy. So the Wall Street guys go, there's a professor of economics, looks at him, looks at the floor, looks at him, and he's like, why aren't you picking this up? And the professor for economics says, because the money can't be here on the floor, because if it was here on the floor, somebody would have already picked it up. So the Wall Street guy takes it and puts it in a pocket. So it never happens. The markets never become perfect, right?
At least it never happened in the past.
It's a theory
sure.
that doesn't really materialize. There's always arbitrage. There's always ways to make money in the markets. And just Renaissance is an example that for 30 years, these guys are making 70% a year. I'm very happy with 20% a year. I'm ecstatic if I make consistently 20-25% a year. I'm ecstatic. And I'm willing to take beta as well, right? So I'm willing for my portfolio to go down a year as well, which you might need to. By the way, Renaissance never did. Hedge funds like Millennium and Point72, they don't have negative years, right? So real quant funds don't have negative years, right? They're very strict about it.
And Yoni, let's say, because I always want to, try things by myself. So I'd definitely be happy to use your quants and Yoni's best open close. But if let's say I want to plug in my close or my Claude or ChatGPT to eToro tomorrow or after this episode. You said I'll do it with you, but probably we won't get the chance. And also people around who listening to us here, they won't. So how do I start? I mean, should I say you're a freaking Warren Buffett? You're like a superstar. Where do I start? What do I do?
Right. I would start with something relatively simple, which is like figuring out what is the portfolio that you want to build, right? So again, in some cases, for many people, I want to build a portfolio of grade 10 tech stocks. I want to take an advantage of the geopolitical environment right now. So first, I believe in a theme, right? Like our thematic portfolios. Like what do you believe in right now that has an opportunity to make money? So that's the theme, the story for you to remember also why you did it.
Okay.
Second is strategy. And by the way, on the app store that we're launching, you're going to have a new app very soon called Agent X that helps you also build exactly what I'm describing right now, right? Okay. So defining the type of, one is the theme, what type of stocks. The second is type of strategy. Right, I'm looking for something that's more actively traded, less actively traded. What's the rebalance frequency? I think once a week or once a month is sufficient with a test once a day. Then, like you need the risk appetite, right? So those are the type of things, and you can go all the way. It really depends how sophisticated you are, right? But we are in parallel simplifying this, so eventually it becomes an agent of eToro. But I said, first give it to my claw, then we'll figure out it for the rest of eToro. So it's still a relatively complex product because you need to define what you want to say to your own agent, right?
Because I could like plug it to 100x accounts plus New York Times plus Washington Post plus Donald Trump plus
we just added the Donald Trump truth social feature,
and then you'd say just according to what they say, buy and sell oil and whatever.
So we're in parallel to launching this, which is for you to experiment. Like you're the target audience, like because you already are with OpenClaw and with an eToro account. So like that's the target audience. Because like my deputy CEO told me, like, who is this product for? Like I can't explain to people how to use it. I'm like, because they need an OpenClaw.
I got 30 guys upstairs probably as your target audience.
So
they're just dreaming about this.
So that's exactly the target audience. And now we're dealing with the other question, which is, okay, now how do we create like a pool of prompts, right? Which are prompts you can feed your OpenClaw, which I think we'll do this page later this week on the website, right? So you'll have like various prompts. Then how do we give your claw access to our data claw? So you can have more data. You could have the truth social signal, for example, right? But then in all of it, I need to like put in a lot of disclaimers, which is, this is all AI. This is all experimental. I don't have control over your claw. Your claw might be, I don't know, my claw has like a full page of soul saying, don't hallucinate. If you ever lie to me about something that you did and you didn't do, I will reset you. Like, because they, if they hallucinate in that business, right? And if they tell you your backtest showed 30% and they lied, it's not lying. It's, I always think like this, the hallucination over pleasing part is something like I really am trying to sort of take out of my claws and encode, but we do see it as still an issue it's solvable over time. But this is your claw, so I don't know how well trained is your claw, right?
Well, it's not over pleasing me. I can tell you, I've been training it to.
Exactly. Because that's the first thing you realize. Like, I don't want you to overplease me. I want you to be truthful. Which is, by the way, why I love Grok. Because Grok is actually much less a pleaser and much more truth-telling than others.
Are you on Grok on your OpenClaw? Most of it? Are you?
I'm on all. Like you go in. Like I'm on Anthropic, OpenAI. I have my own Gemma GPU of Google, the new open source. I have Grok.
Yeah.
Tori now moves to Grok. So I think that's like, we're constantly evaluating it's running so fast. Like the jump of OpenClaw could not have happened without Open 4.6. And
the other thing is that many people, since I discovered OpenClaw, so it's probably 3-4 weeks after you started on OpenClaw, and it took me another couple of weeks before I started myself. People are saying that since the release of Claude and Claude Cowork, and that there's no point going on OpenClaw anymore. But it seems to be.
I think it's, first of all, OpenClaw for me was like magical, like really magical.
Yeah,
and it still is. Like I'll show you my WhatsApp. If I open now my WhatsApp, I promise you 20 different groups. Each says like Web Claw, Creative Claw, Copy Claw, Dev Claw.
Do it, please. Yeah.
It's like...
I'll tell you what I see.
But I need to
if
open
you agree. Yeah. Because you were on plane mode, but...
1 second. But actually you can see here.
Yeah.
eToro Pro Investor
yeah.
is Claw, my Pro Investor Claw, talking to actually customers of eToro.
Yeah.
Web Claw is building the new Web Claw. VAP Signal Claw we're creating a Signal Claw.
Webclaw.
By the way, you see what's happening right now with this plain
Uniclaw. Okay, Uniquant Claw.
Uniquant Claw is quant VIP signals.
Moniclaw Alpha.
You're seeing what's happening, right?
Yeah, and what's happening is a lot of things. Hundreds of messages.
You see what's happening to
OpenClaw, wow.
Right? It's like I'm not even looking.
That's way too much. Too many messages, no?
This is look at this. This is Corp Dev Claw, Web Claw. It's market data. So all the claws, they're always working.
And what about, sorry about that question, but mental health? Because it makes, I don't know, I'm happy. I'm so happy. I think all of these, I'm so thrilled to witnessing all of these now.
Yeah.
But still, it's a shitload of information.
You know how they call it? I told my PR before I joined the podcast, and I told them, listen, if we're going to talk a lot about claw, I'm going to have to use this term because I think it is something that we'll need to figure out because of everything happening, which is AI psychosis, right? So, which is a real term in San Francisco, right? So you're not alone. I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning and I dreamt about my claws. I actually dreamt about what my claws are talking about. And I wake up and I'm like, where did I stop till yesterday at 3 a.m.? What was the last claw and what did it do? And then I actually open my WhatsApp and all of the claws are like they're speaking to each other. And it's maddening.
I have a tip though. You should not open your WhatsApp first. You should go for a
swim in the ocean.
Yeah,
I should go to swim in the ocean.
If you
live on the beach in Cyprus now.
I'd still
swim
go
in the ocean.
Fitness, reading 20 pages.
But I'll tell you, last time I was like this I had blockchain psychosis.
Yeah.
That was like very early days of blockchain. I was like, wow, this is like, I can't believe it.
We're in the middle of this, right? Yeah.
And it's very because I felt it then, the same feeling, but it's even, you know why it's bigger right now? Because I feel now I also have Vitalik.
You have Vitalik?
I have Vitalik on my phone.
Like the real one or Vitalik?
No. Vitalik, I have
Yeah, sure.
I can write the white paper, but I don't and then in 2017-18, I was addicted to writing white papers for new tokens. I own real estate coin and good coin and a lot of, and now it's not only about the white paper, it's, you can actually build it.
Yeah.
Right?
Just
but
yourself.
At the end, again, you can build it and you can have agents building it and developing, but you have to have somebody very smart who wants the same thing that you want to steer it. Otherwise, it is a problem because right now, but I have 1,500 employees, right? Which is what I'm doing right now. I'm creating clauses that create things that are important in eToro, and I'm pushing them down to people so they can do it together with me. And in parallel, like you said, we also are on Claude and on Cursor, right? Which is different tastes. It's something for me, the reason it's magic is WhatsApp. Is because I'm constantly on WhatsApp and I'm not always on my laptop like you are, but I'm always on WhatsApp. And my father
pretty much always on my WhatsApp. It's just that,
but I 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm okay, web, I'm going like this with 5 different claws in 5 different groups. So at some point I want somebody to take each claw from me, but I have this list, out of my 30 claws roughly, each one has what's my purpose in eToro, what I'm going to do, and I'm trying to assign 2 drivers to each claw, Formula One, 2 drivers so they can take it from me and eventually I can leave the WhatsApp group.
So you're probably the most experienced claw user I've met yet. What are the big mistakes you've made I shouldn't make or people listening to us shouldn't make? We talk about a lot about security issues. I still didn't give it access to my bank, but it has access to quite a lot of things, agenda or my email or Drive, Google Drive.
First of all, give it things that you feel is fine if they would leak. right? So if you're fine with your data to leak, which by the way, I usually say, because I built a social network, so I usually say like most of my personal life could leak. Fine. Like it's open. I don't like, if you run a company, right now I built separately. It's like there is a mirror of eToro, which runs clause and it doesn't have any access to anything in eToro. Like it's completely separate. But also because I wanted maximum power, not maximum safety. So I split it from eToro. I'm running it with different people in eToro, but I wanted maximum power. So I gave it keys to everything, but I also created security clause. So actually security clause now runs and scans all of the network activity of all of the clause and creates for them rules. So if one person would ask one of the clause, put in a key in the WhatsApp group, security clause would catch it and then send a WhatsApp to, if the first of the clause should already know what are the security rules. And second, he would also send to the person who sent it, you have not read security training of clause, never ask for anybody to put keys. So a lot of learning, and I'd say patience, right? So at the beginning when I started using it and then training it to other people, I saw a lot of people giving up because it's like giving somebody a Formula One race car, but not in a simulator on a real race. So they crash and then they're like, I'm not sure I want to do this again.
Are they all running on machines, or are they running on the cloud?
No, cloud.
Cloud.
Cloud. But
Okay.
I can tell now, I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
I can tell now my claw, Yoni claw, replicate a new claw, bringing the skills of Yoni claw, QA claw, dev claw, and product claw. Each of them have like different skills. And this is his purpose. This is his soul, like very high level. And 30 seconds after, we have a new machine with a new claw operating, connected already.
Can you talk to it?
I don't do that,
No?
but I don't like voice. I don't know why. Like I don't listen to voice and I don't like voice. I like type very fast and I read very fast.
The OpenClaw founder, the Australian guy, he was saying that he wouldn't even type anymore. He would just talk.
Yeah. No. I see some people doing it. I'm just not a voice person.
Yeah, replication is very easy when you're on the cloud.
Yeah. Replication is very easy when you're on the cloud. There are great now cloud solutions as well. But again, a lot of patience and a lot of emphasis on memory, which is now, by the way, getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm building fleet memory. I'm building how can they all learn from each other.
But you still have to put MD files or stuff like this.
But there's
everywhere.
the new Carpathy memory, and OpenClaw just launched yesterday another upgrade to their memory. So memory is getting solved. It's getting better. But again, the way I told my team when I saw them working with it and being frustrated with it, I said, this is like, you have here a PhD in math and a professor in physics and computer sciences, but he's also a 3-year-old boy. He doesn't remember anything. And if you ask him who ate the candy, angrily, he will lie to you. So, and I think that's very hard for people to like, you just built for me an entire website, a mathematical algorithm, and I'm asking you like, do you remember what we did? And you're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, that process, but which is going to get better and better and better. Just people need, I think, to understand how AI works a bit.
You have to use it and use it to understand.
You have to use it and use it, and then not get frustrated from the fact that it's different than interacting with. Like I would not believe, but so it's a funny story. So this is my regular WhatsApp, what you've seen, and then I have WhatsApp Business, which is my other number, and that's the number of Yoniclo. Problem is, or funny thing is, most people don't know it's my number because it's my Cyprus number.
Okay.
which is but it's my real number. I use it like it's my WhatsApp. And they think it's a bot. So, and they're talking to him.
You fucker. It's like, hey, you're talking to me.
Why aren't you answering me? Can you please do what I told you? And like, I go to my art director and I'm like, you realize it's my phone, right? And she's like, what? Who is it? Yoni. She's like, which Yoni? Like, your CEO. And she's like, no, I thought it was the bot I'm talking to. Like, it is the bot, but he's on my phone. And the way to get what you asked for is to ask nicely. and like I had like
is that the
multiple
case? Is it?
No. But she wasn't asking in the right way, right? So it's not nicely. Like I was correcting her how to like help AI answer correctly.
Give us a bit of your
another example. So I opened it to like I have a WhatsApp group with now 450 eToro employees called AI Tsunami, which was started like 12 months ago, and like gradually more and more people in eToro are joining, and I'm like sharing everything I see there. I'm sharing, and then I shared there my claw, right? Talk to my claw. I have an employee like started talking to my claw. It's like, okay, so explain to me who you are. And he's like, I'm Yoni Claw. I'm Yoni's Claw AI assistant. I deal with quantitative trading, marketing, management, people. He's like, what exactly is People Claw? And he's like, People Claw is Yoni's trying to understand how management tries to look at the future. Like, what is management in the future? Where I'm dealing now with what is management, AI first management for the last 6 to 9 months. So I'm like talking to AI to figure out what does AI first management mean. And then they have this entire dialogue, and he's sending my claw. He doesn't know this is my phone. His picture of his newborn son. And he's like, this is my newborn son. What would you tell him when he grows up or something like this? And they have this philosophical question. And then he goes, but does Yoni read? He can't read all of these dialogues with all of like the people now in eToro who's talking to his bot. And he's like, I don't know what he reads, but if he asks me questions, I'll answer him. And he's like, can you give me a tip? How do I get a better upgrade to my salary or to my bonus? Now I read this. I have no idea who this is in eToro. I've never heard even the name, right? And I read this and I'm like, I'm crying with laughter and send it to my HR. And I'm like, every last person in eToro suddenly can talk to Yoni. And I think he just asked me for a raise.
Interesting. What you were saying about how to prompt. People ask you, or you were giving advices. Can you give me some advices of how to prompt? Some things maybe we don't know, you use a lot.
I think the most thing is to try and think of like input, output.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Like if you always think input, and if you have logic on process, output, and output, always save it. I connect it also to MD files, but also to GitHub, right? So I have like my claw has keys to like connectivity to GitHub. So I open a repo, so new project, new repo, new files, and then input, context, output. Like when you think as a programmer, first of all, always like I spin research. So this is more skills and sub-agent. I don't know if you were working with sub-agents already.
Not yet.
Okay, sub-agent is super important. So you create a sub-agent, and then that sub-agent, you can actually create also a persistent agent. So you say, I want to deal a lot with development of web. And then you say, okay, now I want that agent to inherit all of my skills. But that agent now, and this is one open claw can have multiple sub-agents. And I learned that sub-agents are you need to have specialty for a sub-agent. So you don't need multiple claws, but very fast you need to have sub-agents.
Like
right?
Vadim, my agent, is my chief of staff. That's his
exactly.
role.
So you tell him, okay, this is marketing. This is marketing, development, research planner. You build this all.
PR, HR, finance.
You build it all.
You name it.
And then the first thing I do with a new sub-agent, I tell them, go research all of CloHub, but also look at the most starred Go2X research, all of the relevant GitHub relevant repositories on this specific subject, and build for yourself. Now suggest for me all of the GitHub repos you're going to pull, all of your skills that you're going to install, and suggest for me your new additions to Soul, Agents, and Memory.
I'm not going to sleep for years.
But then once you do it, they become super smart, and again, the problem is, so they become super smart, and then sometimes it regresses, and sometimes it goes. But a sub-agent, like I would 100% tell people with even one OpenClaw, sub-agents with speciality, and constantly research new skills, research GitHub repositories, install from him new stuff. Like for me, one of my favorite stuff is I go on X almost every night. I'm on X to see what people are doing with OpenClaw. I take it from X, put it to YoniClaw. I tell him, study, learn, pull GitHub, tell me how you can improve. And it's and then, I'm studying all of the things that are interesting for me, and then I'm trying to teach it to all of the other claws.
How much tokens, how much do you spend on tokens? Do you have an idea?
Personally?
Yeah, for those claws?
I'm probably, no, it's not. If you take all of my claws together, all of the claws together are probably now at a rate of 20, 30,000 tokens a month, maybe even more. But now we're optimizing. But remember, we also have 500 people in my dev team that have Cursor, and I have 1,000 licenses of OpenAI, and I have a special agreement with Grok, and I have 1,000 Gemini agreements, and I have my own GPU who runs Gemma. So now we're optimizing. It is, by the way, it's definitely going to eventually become, and I'm spending a year $40 million on Microsoft Cloud. So it's very easy for me, right, to, let's spend $30,000 a month on this experiment and then optimize price. And I agree with what Jensen is saying and many others are saying, an employee of eToro, we call them eTorians, who learns how to build these things. And then I'll touch a note for a second on the App Store and how does this all connect to eToro, right? So I realized this 9 months ago, my first lovable app and then Base 44 app. And Base 44, I know the founder very well before Wix bought them. And I'm like, Mauro, what you're doing is crazy. And I brought Base 44 to our clients. That was our initial AI studio, is let's give Base 44 to all of our pro investors. That's how they build their apps, because it's awesome, right? The simplicity of Base 44 of building an app is also mind-blowing. And I said, okay, and that's how we started the thinking of the App Store. 9 months later, we're here today. We're launching 30 to 50 different apps on the App Store. And why is it important, I think, for the future of eToro? And if eTorians listen to this, it might be their first time, so I might need to send an email before. But my concept is every team at eToro eventually are app builders, right? So I met now the managing director here in France, and I told him, listen, we've been trying to think of how do we build a PEA in France, and every time you go, you meet people in Israel, in Cyprus, in the UK, developers, product people, and I feel like we're in a loop. Take my OpenClaw. Here we have now PEA Claw. It's going to build the app. It's going to build the website. It's going to set up the everything. And he loves it because he actually he told me, that's the best thing I've ever heard. I so much want to do this. And so when you think of the future of work in eToro, it's similar to how I thought of bringing pro investors to build their own ideas on eToro. I think many, many employees, the ones who are smart, will actually build apps on top of eToro. Those apps will have a business model. And that's how eventually we have 10x innovation and 10x apps in eToro. And that's how people actually stay less concerned about their jobs because they're building job security.
Yoni, you'll have to go pretty soon. But before that, I have a couple of questions. The first one actually is, I could speak about all of these for a few hours more, all right? But I usually try to negotiate with my guests. I haven't told Valerie actually, so maybe you're like the best deal you can get for our listeners, like who are not eToro users. What if they use my code? Like, could be like do it or whatever. Do it would be great. What would you offer them?
A free open claw.
A free open claw. Okay. Can you do that? Yeah.
I think we can figure it out under Money Claw. Yeah, it's in the process, so we can figure it out.
It's going to be a couple of weeks before we release this episode, probably. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a version of, like, we looked at like various types of how do you create it on Docker and stuff, and that we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Up to the first 1,000 people. Sounds good.
Cool. First 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the one who don't understand anything about OpenClaw, I'm trying to get my brother to help people install OpenClaw. Everywhere. You can contact him. It's going to be Pierre at Stefani.fr, something like this. He's going to be mad at me because I've given his email address, but I'm sure I'm sure people will need. Many people don't understand what we're talking about, right? Yeah. So I'm pushing him to do that because he's been spending a lot of time on OpenClaw. So yeah. Would you have any book you would to everyone to offer to everyone?
The most impactful book in my life was 1984. So it's an old book. It's an old book, but I think it opened my mind to understand like different perspective, and it's so important to read it now for younger generations to understand what's happening in the world. And let's hope everything goes back to peace as fast as possible. Yeah. But it gives you that ability to think of perspective in a different way.
If you get the chance to meet Yoni right after you sell your first company. What if you get a chance to meet yourself and you can talk to you? What advice would you give you?
It's easy. Don't sell Bitcoin.
Yeah, that would be
then buy more Bitcoin. But it's very easy in NVIDIA or buy NVIDIA. But other than that, always believe. Like, I think that's lesson number one. By the way, in capital markets, but in life, in entrepreneurs, first believe. There's nothing without belief. Always believe. It's 100%. Like every time I look at mistakes in my life, it's because I stopped believing. And it's the number one. It's believe, learn, experience. It's exactly what we're teaching in financial education. Believe in capital markets. Learn and educate yourself about capital markets and experience. There is nothing without experience.
Great. Yoni, it was a great moment. Would you have a word, like a last word for the people watching on YouTube or everywhere for the comments? Would be OpenClaw or?
No, believe, learn, experience.
Okay.
And only on eToro.
Yeah, believe, learn, experience. I was very happy. To the people who are new to this podcast, we had a few episodes with Read of Mine twice, Brian Chesky in English. So please, we'll put the links of all of the English-speaking episodes. Join us, follow me. It's very important. Share this episode, please, with people around you. It was a great pleasure to have you on Génération with yourself, Yoni.
Thank you very much.
We'll do that, yeah. Hopefully. Oh, yeah. I have a last question. Do you know Yuval Noah Harari?
Who?
Yuval Noah Harari?
Yeah.
Okay. We have some business to talk about. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.